big city. If you had 1 billion cookies, you could give a cookie to everyone on Earth and still have cookies left over. There was a joke at one time that Bill Gates made $150 a second. So if he saw a $100 bill laying on the ground, it would actually cost him money to pick it up. And I'm glad you can get your cheap carpet because some of us can't. What I'd like to say is I've been watching some of the hearings going on in Washington. The waste, fraud, and abuse, having worked for Social Security as a disability examiner, having worked for Medicare and Medicaid, going into people's homes and interviewing them about their health care, I can tell you that my German Shepherd gets better health care than a lot of people do. I tend to hear in these hearings people talking in generalities. Well, everybody does this, or everybody does that, or, well, these people do this, and we know that these people are able-bodied. What I would like to see in the hearing rooms, first of all, is better attendance. Because I've seen representatives get up at the podium, and when they stand in the room, there's maybe 2 or 3 other representatives or senators there. So they aren't showing up for their states. Second, I don't want you to debate opinion. I want you to debate data. I want you to have physicians in the room, OB/GYNs in the room, nutritionists in the room. You guys don't have that expertise. Those people do. And those are the people that we need to count on to give us truthful information that you use to negotiate a solution of one fit all solution, which is tough to do. But you can't do it on your Bible, and you can't do it with nobody in the room with no expertise on the subject. I retired in 2019 making less than I made during the dot-com boom. Raise the minimum wage. Raise the minimum wage. In the country. I do. My question for you is, I want you to imagine what America is going to look like even just 1 year after this big, beautiful bill takes effect. Having worked for Medicaid, when Blue Cross took over Medicaid, we had trouble with the check writing system for nursing homes. And we made the front page because nursing homes couldn't make their payroll without their Medicaid check. So where are all these people going to go?
Yeah, let's go to the panel.
People are going to lose their homes. I still have homes in my neighborhood sitting empty from 2008 and 2009. Or they were bought by somebody that doesn't even live in my state, and some rental agency's taking care of it, and it's just... So what I want to know is, imagine, I want to hear what you think our country's going to look like when we've got increased homelessness.
Ma'am, we've got a lot of questions,
I know.
so we could just go to the
About
panel
that.
and they could...
About that. We have empty housing. We have people starving. We have people that can't get medical care. We say people are going to die. Well, yeah, they are, but you know what else? They're going to be desperate. Crime's going to go up. So you tell me what you think this is going to look like after your big bill cuts everybody off everything.
Would anyone like to respond?
Thank you.
I'm happy to. Fine. I think a year from now, it's going to look a lot like it looks right now, because we go through these cycles where we pass a big bill where we spend a bunch and inflation goes up, and then we pass a big bill where we cut taxes and we live a little bit differently. But ultimately, I think in my neighborhood and where I live and where you live, and I spend a lot of time on the road all over Kansas, so I don't want you to think that my neighborhood is special. It's going to look a lot like it looks now. I'm just not a...
How can you justify that?
Ma'am, let's let her...
I'm just saying, I think it's going to look a lot like it looks, exactly like it looks almost right now. And I say this because I'm not watching TV to get my data. I'm not...
Neither am I.
looking at my neighbors and what's happening in my neighborhood and down the street and in my community, and I lived half time in this community, and it looks the same as it did 5 years ago, as it did 6 years ago, as it will look tomorrow. I just think it's not really a fair question to say, what is it gonna look like? What are you gonna do? We're all gonna probably be here next year at the same time. We could probably schedule this for next year at the exact same time, the exact same date, and it will look almost the same, because the things they do in Washington, while they affect us, they don't dramatically affect us all overnight. They never do. Like, we're trying to fix problems today that occurred 30 years ago.
We have a concentration camp set in this country. You telling me it doesn't change overnight?
Andy,
I'm sorry, I look to my elected officials to help us.
Yes.
I'm not an elected official on it.
She's not an elected official, and she's not affected, but other people are affected greatly. We saw a bunch of federal workers lose their jobs. Nobody's against fraud and abuse.
I mean,
There are efficiencies to be found,
we're all against.
but why did we do it the way we did?
To
And
get our
it was
data.
with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Those cuts took place with a chainsaw, and it hurt a lot of people. And what you're saying is more people are gonna be hurt, if not passed. And that should be something we're concerned about. That's why we elect the officials that we do. We need to hold them accountable. There's so much more we could be doing with the government, and that's making our lives safer, healthier, more education that's accessible, feeding people that need to be fed. I'm sorry, but that's what, when I look at elected officials, and I'm not, our organization is nonpartisan, we look to them to say, hey, are they helping Kansas? Are they helping workers? You know, making a safer workplace.
When's the last time you guys said yes, they are?
I'm sorry?
When's the last time you asked that question and said, well, yes, they are?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer your question directly, and I'm not going to stand, so I'll speak louder. To answer your question directly, I don't know. I don't know, one, because that bill was 1,000 pages long.
Right.
And it was rushed through. And we do the same thing at the State House, and I know Senator Titus and I have talked about this. We stack things on, and then at the midnight hour, we got a debate on it. So if I don't know, I'm going to vote no, because that's what I feel is just as a representative to do. I will tell you that it is going to be more money on our national debt, $3.9 trillion. So I know that's going to happen. But I want to go back to what you said about showing up and going to the hearings, because I encourage all of you to do that. My question is, what are you going to do? We're in there debating about these bills. I'll have the doctors come up and talk about the importance of regulating prior authorization and insurance. I'll have 100 people testify that they don't want you to touch our bodies, but the bills still go through, because that's how it works. Matter of fact, in insurance, we had a bill that went through and there was 0 proponents for this bill. It was just something the chair wanted to do. Now that's not rational, but yet you're here asking us questions, keeping us accountable. I'm keeping you accountable now. That's your house. Come to the house, visit it, please.
I've testified.
And bring a friend, bring 2 friends, everybody.
There you go. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ron Bradbury. I work for KDHE. I am one of the people that actually processes the Medicaid applications. We have family Medicaid, and we have E&D, which we call elderly and disabled. I do look for fraud and abuse. Now, we have people that do work that are eligible for some of our services, and they get a program called CHIP, and they're able to pay a $20 copay, a $30 copay, a $50 copay, so that they can have coverage for their families. I find, and I have found fraud, I have, I have found families that have done fraud because a husband or a boyfriend has lost their job. Recently, this is very recently. I've been with KDHE for about 7 years. It hasn't been until now that I have found more fraud, and it's because of people losing their jobs and not being able to get coverage for their families. It's very important. I have coworkers who are getting CHIP. Now, my question is that a lot of us are scared for our current positions because of what's going to happen with Medicaid. They're going to cut it back. Are we going to lose our jobs? The other thing I just wanted to mention as well, sometimes I hear on the news about people wanting to cut back on Medicaid or get rid of Medicaid because they say people entering our country illegally are getting services. I want to let you all know that's not true. If a lady comes here and has a baby here, we will pay for the delivery. That's it. Once she's stable and good to go, that's it. We don't pay anymore. We don't do that. They don't get coverage and run for 4 years, 5 years. They don't do that. It's my job to verify that, to look at that. I do my job well. We don't do that. Our executive branch committee, not committee, but our leadership is in constant communication with us about those things. And again, I've worked both spectrums, E&D and family med. Same as my wife here. The things that I hear, the things that people were scared of, are simply not true. What I'm afraid of is losing my position. So, what guarantees can you give me that I won't become one of those people that are asking for Medicaid, I'm sorry. That's my question.
If I may, I'm just going to talk again to very local, not Kansas-wide. And I appreciate your work, and I appreciate you saying this, because I have heard from friends that it can be quite a concern that somebody begins working that they're going to lose their Medicaid. So to know that there's a tiered deductible as somebody re-enters the workforce is very refreshing to me. I would say, as somebody not very much involved in that, I think that's worth promoting so people know that, because I don't think it's common knowledge, and that could be me just missing it. But I think that's helpful to society to have those tiers of deductions.
Anyone else like to respond?
At this point, right, that's a question that a legislator can't answer. You know, that's Governor Kelly's prerogative. I can't tell you what, you know, we don't hire and fire people. You can talk about what the feds do, but it's just to ask that question and to give you certainty like you're asking for.
In all due respect,
yep.
You vote on it, you bring it up, you discuss it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the way you're saying it, that may not be the way a legislative process works with the state budget. I'm not. No one's talking about any sort of layoffs like that as a result of this. Yeah. That's not in legislative budget circles at this time, and so.
To help out a little bit, we do have decision rights when it comes to appropriating funds for whether or not you're going to retain the full-time employee number that you currently have.
Right.
We've added, we've subtracted, so yes, we play a role when it comes to what you have as a budget. From an administrative standpoint, how those funds are utilized, that will be on your directors, the governor's office, whoever that will be in place. I think that as a representative of Shawnee County and as a representative who has who's worked for the Kansas State Department of Ed, who understands the value of what state employees do and how hard they work, I think we have to, as representatives, fight and make sure that you maintain your job, or at least demonstrate where the abuse is coming from. Because I do believe you. Having said that, at the Kansas State Department of Ed, we had a 5-tier process to get a new laptop. All right? That's not efficient. Okay? Why do I need 5 signatures on that? So those are the questions we have to ask, and no one's saying other than that. But that's where we stand.
I will say that I believe this last session, the vacancies were not funded. And what that does for the agencies, when someone leaves, for whatever reason, that position, there's no one to pick up the slack at work. So that just means more work for people that are there. And there's a reason that vacancies were funded in the first place, and that's the plan for things like that.
Okay, real quick comment on everything, and then I'll ask my question. About schools being funded. If schools are being funded, they've already cut before and after school programs. So, and there's lots of other things already in the works to be cut. Secondly, I'm going to tell a really, really quick story and then ask my question about it. I have a friend who went to Washburn University, paid for her master's degree out of pocket, is a single mother, graduated summa cum laude, top of her class, cannot find a job anywhere in Kansas because she's from India on a green card, and every time she's interviewed, she's told that they're afraid someone's going to come and take her and deport her, even though she's here legally, completely legally, and they will not give her a job. Right now, this is actually happening in Topeka, Kansas. This is a Topeka, Kansas question. Right now, she is working on a summer internship for the government. And when it's over, she doesn't know where she's going to live, what she's going to do with her son. Her son goes to school in 501. She knows nothing. Now, I also know, because I watch the local news, that our sheriff's department and the police have now found an agreement with ICE. And I want to know what each and every one of you is going to do to keep not only her safe, but all of us safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
My DACA friend.
And she's here legally.
If she's here legally, she should have nothing to worry about.
That's why she doesn't get a job.
But she can't get employed.
Folks, let's let Chehalis answer the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I also wanted to say that as someone who is brown and has been mistaken for Hispanic before at several jobs, indigenous countries are also terrified of being profiled like that. And there have been some deportations of indigenous people with no basis, and they don't listen to them when they try and hand over their CDID or their tribal card, because it's not a valid form of identification. And so indigenous countries actually terrified as well, because being profiled like that, they're not able, like when ICE is questioning them, they won't listen because it's not like a passport, or it's not like a valid form.
And ICE doesn't have a warrant or ID either, do they?
To quickly add on to that, I have 2 adopted children. One, they came from the reservation. They are half Native American and half African American. We're sitting in the hallway right now. And he went to Mexico with my mom legally on a vacation, and multiple people from Mexico asked him, "Are you Hispanic?" He is not. But I have told him many times, I'm very scared as a parent, that it's not about what you are anymore, it's about what you look like.
Yeah.
So please, again, can you tell me how you're going to keep Topeka people safe?
Yes.
I mean, we expect the sheriff to follow the law.
We expect all law enforcement to. We have small borders.
Let's let him answer the question, please.
Yeah.
As a brown person who has been brown my entire life in Kansas, I will just tell you, I get confused for all kinds of races all the time. I don't have a single fear. Maybe I'm just in La La Land, but I don't think so. I have been to Mexico with my white mother, and I have been asked for my identification, and this was when I was a child, to make sure I was legal to come back in the country with her.
We're talking today.
Well, I can't speak to today because I've been to Mexico and
Our
nobody's asked me.
our fears are based right
Let
now.
her finish.
I think that's the issue, is that
I-
this is
I'm
happening
sa- I guess
now
what I'm
and
trying to
it's
say is
unprecedented.
I'm not sure, but I
Let her
gotta take
finish.
a moment because I was raised that when you see a Nazi, you should say, "There's a Nazi in the room."
Let her finish.
Got folks.
So you're calling me a Nazi?
It's laughable.
Not you.
I can ask a different question.
We'll go to you next.
If you're legal, you're legal.
Wait.
Ma'am,
We have
let's,
different
we need to
opinion.
move
We're
on.
gonna move
Can
on.
you answer my
A lot of
question?
people have questions, so go ahead, Kirk.
All right, so we've had a really good discussion and we've managed decorum for a certain, just bear with us a little bit here. All right, we're here to help and listen. To answer your question directly, from our side of the party, it's difficult for us to move any type of policy through. But what we can do, that seems to be the hardest thing for elected officials to do, is to show up and to respond. And so I want to make sure that if that's happening, and please let me know, even if she's not in my district, happy to have a conversation with her about that. But there's a caveat. Businesses have the right to make decisions that are based upon their thought of value. And that's the fine line. I do believe that we need to look at more whistleblower opportunities so people aren't being persecuted. I do believe we need to have more connections with local officials and hold them, and we can have we can bring them in for session and have discussions with them.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sure, I got a question. I think hopefully, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you
All
back.
right. Hopefully we'll be, I don't view this as a partisan question, really kind of more of a pro-Kansas question, economic development question.